Here I was, a 9-year-old stuck inside of a 23-year-old's body, standing on top of a roof wanting to kill myself. There was no other option for me. I didn't want to live anymore. I hadn't dealt with the issues in my life. My name is Josh Oxendine. Hear my story. So growing up, my life seemed pretty pleasant, honestly. I grew up in a Christian home environment. Both my parents were married. Life, honestly, seemed to be pretty pleasant. And then somewhere around the age of 9, it is almost as if a tornado went through and my life completely and forever changed. Right around the age of 9 is where my story then begins. My parents decided to get a divorce, and I can remember as a 9-year-old boy, I didn't even know what the word divorce meant. It seemed as if it sort of caught me off guard, but the more and more that I would think about it, I would look back and I'd realize that, man, this was a train wreck coming. I remember stories of my dad coming home just completely wasted, and he'd be so angry that he'd come home and he'd punch a hole in our bathroom wall. Another story I remember is my mom and my dad just both coming home, and it seemed like they had both been drinking and they were bickering back and forth and arguing, and one thing led to another, and the next thing I know, my mom is being dragged by her hair down the hallway of our trailer. And I remember as a 7 or 8-year-old boy, I remember looking out of my bedroom and looking down the hall and yelling at my dad, "What are you doing, Dad? Stop, you're hurting Mom." I remember him telling me to shut up and go back in my room. As I sat in my bed crying, the next thing I heard was 3 thuds, and that was my mom's head hitting the stairs outside of our trailer. And to this day, man, that sound will forever, ever haunt me. From that point on, I literally ran to almost every masculine figure that my mom would date. I was searching for some type of a masculine or a man or a fatherly figure to fill that void that my dad had left. And after dating 1, 2, 3 different guys, it just seemed like an empty pursuit. I remember as a 13-year-old boy opening up a Bible, turned to the book of Psalms, and I came to Psalms 27:10. It says, "When my mother and father forsake me, the Lord will take me up." Now, I knew God prior to this moment, but I never had seen a love shine down in this moment. I'd never seen God as an Abba, as a daddy, more than I did in this moment. I saw God's love move from this Gandalf, scary looking figure to a daddy wrapping his arms around a child. Life seemed to get a little bit better. And I got a little older and life moved on, but I don't know if I really ever begin to really deal with the messiness in my life, begin to deal with the baggage that I had as a kid. And right around the age of 22, 23 years old, I ended up finding myself in just a really bad job situation. I was financially stressed. I was emotionally spent. I was physically exhausted. I was in a relationship with a girl that I shouldn't have been. And for me, the only way out was to end my life. Here I was, a 9-year-old stuck inside of a 23-year-old's body, standing on top of a roof wanting to kill myself. I called my mom and I said, "Mom, you failed me. I don't want to live anymore." I hung up. I called my dad. I said something similar. And about that time, my friend comes out on the roof trying to sort of navigate through and help me talk through my issues. And jokingly, he said, "You know, if you jump off the roof, all you're gonna do is break a leg." I look at him as stern as I could possibly say and said, "Not if I jump head first." There was no other option for me. I didn't want to live anymore. I hadn't dealt with the issues in my life. I was still that broken little 9-year-old stuck inside of a 23-year-old man's body. Several minutes later, cops pull up And only by the grace of God did I get off the roof. If I could bring hope to anybody, it would be this. I understand that God and Christianity is not everybody's thing, but it's the only thing that I know. It's the only hope that I have to share. I was a broken 9-year-old boy searching for something to fill a void. I had a gap, an emptiness, a space in my life, completely in despair and broken. And then I was introduced and pursued by a radical love of a Father. That same love is offered to you. So if you're broken, you're in despair, maybe you've looked at God as some angry figure in the sky. I want to tell you, He's not that. He's a daddy, a loving daddy. He offers that love to you. Hear my story.